Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans by the fans, and we have another signing coming up as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have re-signed defensive lineman Tanner Schmekel, and this is to, I believe, a one-year deal. Is that right, Rick? Just a one-year deal for Schmekel? Everything I've seen has indicated that. I'm pretty sure that's actually what the Bombers announced on their socials. I just want to make sure I have that right. That is what they announced?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So they re-signed Tanner Schmekel, who, again, now, as we discussed in kind of a prior video, the defensive line will be coached by Jake Thomas. So this is where I'm curious to see some of these younger guys, because he's only 26 years old, how well they're going to do now that Jake Thomas, who was a mentor to them on the defensive line, is kind of out of the way in the sense of that spot's available, but then also is still going to be able to provide that insight, provide that coaching, you know what I mean? From a formal role as the defensive line coach. So Tanner Schmekel's been with the Bombers 2023 through 2025, played 3 seasons, played 5 games in his first season, 17 the next, and just 4 games in 2025. So a total of 26 games played. Over the course of that, he has 9 defensive tackles, 2 sacks, in which he got 1 of them last year. Only 2 defensive tackles, but 1 sack. So it's one of those things where he's at a very limited capacity that he's played with the Bombers. But even him being able to, get 1 sack in even just the 4 games that he played, it is really good in the sense of that he only gets a couple opportunities here and there to perform, and he's consistently kind of stepped up to the plate well in that regard. So I think with this signing, this is the Bombers. Because firstly, it's a 1-year deal, so it's kind of a bit of a prove-it deal before they necessarily sign him long-term. But obviously, with this re-signing, there's indication that they feel like there's more that they could get out of this guy, potentially in a larger role, playing more games. And so I think this makes a lot of sense. He is a national. He was born in Regina, went to school in Regina, played for the Regina Rams, in which case, if I'm looking here, he had 2 kind of main pedigrees there in terms of his awards, as he was in 2022, he was a Canada West All-Star, as well as a U Sports first team All-Canadian, also in 2022. And so he had done, from everything I see there, looks like he had done relatively well, as in his 2022 season, he had 5 tackles and 1 sack. Or is this just... It's kind of hard to tell with the way U Sports lays it out here, because it shows like per game. Yeah, no, he had a lot more than that. It's showing his amount of tackles per game. If we look at even his 2022 stats... okay, here we go. So, in 2022, for the Regina Rams, he had a total of 17 tackles, 11 solo, 6 assisted. He had 6 tackles for loss, 37 yards back, and he had 2 sacks for a loss of 23 yards. And in 2021, so like we're just kind of looking at his senior year as well as the year before that, he had 5 solo tackles, 8 assisted tackles for 13 total tackles. He had 1.5 tackles for a loss of 7, and 1 sack for 6 yards back. And so, in my opinion, this isn't like the craziest signing that the Bombers do, but this is a guy that's been kind of a decent depth piece for the Bombers, with potential upside to maybe step up and look into that prime role. I'm curious to see with the lineup of defensive linemen that the Bombers are going to have, kind of where, because I imagine Jake Thomas will be potentially involved in the deployment of the defensive line. And he's a very, he's an extremely smart guy. There's a reason that he had the career he did in the CFL. And so I'm curious to see how he utilizes that defensive line, And I think the Bombers are looking to get more out of their defensive line potentially than they did last year. And so I'm curious to see how that goes. But all in all, I think this is a signing I have no issue with. I wouldn't say that this was like Winnipeg's number 1 priority. They must do this. But I think it is not a bad move by any stretch of the imagination. And with him being a national, it's one of those things where if he can really perform the way that you're looking to, that just makes it a little bit easier. As Chris Kolinkowski, offensive lineman center for Winnipeg, was released today, or at least yesterday, sorry, which means that is another Canadian off that team. So I'm not sure if they'll replace him with a Canadian or an American center. So,
question for you.
yes,
Being from Winnipeg, is he a defensive end or more of a defensive tackle?
he's I would say from what I've seen, more D tackle. Like if I look at the depth, I want to look at some depth charts here just to kind of refresh my memory.
The only reason why I'm asking is because last year it looked by his numbers. Now I don't know if he was injured or not or practice squad, but he had only played 4 games last year.
Yes, it was a very limited role. This is true. I'm pretty sure he had dealt with injuries.
Now that he's re-signed, I'm sure he'll get more playing time this year.
Yeah. So he had,
because,
if we're looking
as of right now, you have him and Lawson. That's it for defensive line that they have so far. And I'm sure over the next,
he was
25 to 26
D tackle,
days.
Just to confirm.
D tackle, okay.
Yep.
Over the next 25 to 26 days before the tampering window begins, I'm sure they'll sign, more players, whatnot.
Absolutely. No, definitely.
But it's going to be interesting to see where teams go.
Well, I think the D tackle position and the 2 spots on that line are kind of probably the 2 spots that are up for grabs, in the sense of, obviously Willie Jefferson and James Waters have not been re-signed. I imagine that's high on the Bombers' priority board, especially now that coming out, I'm not sure when this video will be coming out, potentially the same day as this, potentially in a couple the next few days after. We have a video that will be coming out on the Evan Holm re-signing, and that one was a big deal for Winnipeg. Now that that's out of the way, I wouldn't be surprised if the focus is to securing those bookends. And so I think those spots are probably locked up, even though necessarily we haven't seen pen come to paper. Whereas I think the D tackle positions, I think Jordan Younger and Jake Thomas, who will kind of be monitoring that, will kind of be more open to maybe changing it up game by game, seeing how it's going, see who's stepping up, see who's not. I think those spots are more up for grabs than potentially other positions on the team. That would be my interpretation of that. Is there anything else that you have there, Rick?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you guys join our Discord. Link in the description below to our Discord, where we discuss all things CFL, NHL, all sorts of sports stuff. So make sure you guys go there and keep the conversation going. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Peace, love, and positivity to all you wonderful people at home. We will see you guys next time.